Hello and welcome to another episode of The Hollywood Knitter. My name is Allison. I'm coming to you from my home in Los Angeles, California on Friday, March 18th, 2022. It has been a bit. It's been about 2 months. I don't know. It's been a combo of busy at work, still busy at work, very busy at work. And my knitting, I haven't had like my mojo kind of entirely gone, but I definitely have been struggling through a few projects. And then there's the sweater, my Ashland sweater. I think I need to cast something else on because it is like keeping me from knitting because I'm in like Sleep Island. Anyways, I'll talk to you about it. It's been a while. I've got stuff to share. Got a few projects, more on my whips. I got a lot of stash acquisition. I went to Stitches West. It was awesome. And I went a little crazy. So I'm going to show you that and just talk about what else has been going in the last 2 months in my life. It is a beautiful, beautiful sunny day here in March. It is actually rather warm out today. Probably edging towards the 80s. So didn't have too much of a winter, sadly. Not enough rain, which is common rain in the West. But yeah, so I'm off today. It is a Friday, as I said. It is my actual normal day off, and as of right now, am taking it. I'm hopefully not going to do any work. I do have my laptop here in case I need to jump on and do a few emails, but so far no critical things, and so I thought I would take the time. I wanted to sit down and talk to you. It's been a while. I have all of this yarn I want to show and then put away, and then I think I'm going to do a little more me time. Maybe prep for another project, try to get excited, and then sit and chill and watch some knitting. But let's talk about what I have been knitting. What have I been knitting? What are my FOs? Sorry, as I dig through, I got a lot of stuff around me. So I have been spending a lot of time knitting fairly mindless hats. That has been a lot of my go-to. So this is the Helix hat pattern, and I'm pretty sure I showed you, I did one last year, and this is just a scrappy hat pattern where you just do a brim and then you do a helix knitting so you don't have any jogs. It's actually kind of ingenious how it works. You can't see where my line is on the side, but not any really jogs. And that basically is a 3-color stripe where you knit one color, then pick up another color, and then pick up that third color and go around that way. And it kind of creates this. It's a free pattern by Jessica Rose, who formerly of the Double Knits podcast. So these were all DK straps that I had. I can't even tell you. I can tell you that this is plucky. Some leftover plucky. The rest of it, who knows? So I have 1. I have 2. I have 3. You can see I had a lot of pink. I think it's actually the same pink in each hat. I just had like almost a whole ball of this kind of like pink. But I do try to theme my colors. So obviously this is kind of greens and browns and the pink. This was the blues, the pink, and then, you know, some random, and can't remember what this one is. And then this one is a little shorter brim. Again, can't remember, you know, pinks and grays. So each of these takes me, because I knit on them as mindless, I don't know, 2 weeks. Maybe a little more, less, depending on if I work on it. But these are going to all be charity hats. So I'll put them in my charity stash, and we'll give them, I think I'm going to take them with me when I go to Knockers. I believe that the brothers up at the retreat center take hats for, to give out to, I think, the homeless in San Francisco or something like that. So big FOs, 3 hats. 3 hats. And you can kind of see, I'll even try it on for you. Look. It's actually, I like that one. But I don't need more hats. So, just happy to use my random scraps. Like, if you look at my Ravelry page or whatever, I don't list any of these yarns because for me, once I get below a certain ball, I take them out of my stash as all used up, because having lots of little balls in my stash drives me nuts. Instead, I put them all together, and I have a few project bags, extra project bags, and so I put all my DK scraps in one, all my worsted, my fingering lace, that kind of thing. So I just went to my DK bag and I've just been knitting on it. I have one more on the needles that I'll show you. And then I think I'm out of my DK scraps and I might be going into my sport scraps next. The other thing I finished, knitted knockers. So I had 2 skeins. Well, 1 skein of the blush and 1 skein of the rose in Cascade Ultra Puma DK. And of each skein, I got, and these are probably a BC, I got 4. So I got 4 pink, 4 gray. These are from the knitted knockers, if you're not familiar. These are breast prosthetics to basically fill in for women with breast cancer or other reasons that they have to have a mastectomy. And these can kind of fill in your bra, especially if you're one and not both or whatever. Anyways, great charity. Northern California Knitted Retreat recruits for it. Actually, they had a table at Stitches West as well. Between last year, where I knit a bunch, and this year, I have a pretty good stack. So I'm done with knockers for a little while, though. Probably till next year. But fairly easy. I have it definitely memorized, the pattern. And yeah, I'm happy to send these off. So all charity knitting. That's really all I have to show you in terms of FOs. And why is that? Because well, 2 things. We'll go with my Ashland sweater first, which is the sweater I've been working on since, gosh, last October. 5 months, guys. You can see, usually I am a slow knitter, but it doesn't usually take me this long. Now, to be fair, it is fingering, coloring, and long. This was yarn I picked up in Rhinebeck a few years ago, and a wool, and I have the whole body done, which is awesome. So this is the body. This is the Ashland by, I think it's Julie Hoover. And as I said, wool fingering. It's 100% merino in mushroom, feldspar, and toad. So it's got 4 different kind of colors, and you repeat them. And then over here, I'm going to be steeking here. I've never done a steek, so that will be interesting. So I'll be steeking up the arm here. I know I have to reinforce it because it's 100% merino superwash, so it's been treated, so it's not going to stick together as much as it should. So I will be doing some reinforcements and things like that. But I did get the body done, so that's awesome. Body done. And I finished the body like a month ago. And I thought the sleeves, look at, I actually really love it. Look how awesome that is. I really like the sweater, or I will. But it has definitely been a slog with fingering and weight. So let me show you how far I've gotten on my sleeves. In my wisdom, which I still think this is a good thing, I decided to do them 2 at a time. Meaning I had 2 of the gray, enough of the gray to start, and then I basically cast on, do the color, do the gray, then do the next one. So I'm always on roughly the same. Let me show you. I was just working on the other one, the next color on this one. So you can see I started the 4th color. This one's ready for that 4th color, but this is not a lot of sleeve. I was hoping to have this done for knockers, which I think is in 3 weeks, and I don't think I'm going to. And I don't think I'm going to force myself to either. I do have kind of a rhythm going with these sleeves when I work on them, but it's not mindless. Well, because I'm increasing and I'm having to track the increases. That's what these are, every 6, and then the color, and you got to pay attention. And so it is not mindless knitting. It is mostly semi. I can do it if I sit down and I do it, but yeah, sleeves. So I am not putting it aside, not doing that, but I am going to give myself a little grace in terms of recognizing that I'm not enjoying the knitting of it very much, and to just kind of maybe slow it down and give myself a goal. Like, I want to finish, I think I have like 6 more stripes on the sleeves and of the color stripes, which is 120 rows each. So I want to just maybe have a goal. I'm very good with goals of, you know, a stripe a week for each sleeve, maybe 2 if I'm feeling good, to try to finish it now by the end of April. That's what I'm going to try to go for, and not try to rush to have it done by early April. And in the meantime, I will give myself, because I like to be semi-monogamous, guys. I like to finish things. I don't like to have too many whips. That doesn't make me happy. But in this particular case, I'm going to give myself the grace to cast on for another big project. And one that might be a little more mindless, and maybe that will kind of jumpstart me into actually finishing this Ashland sweater. The other thing that I really have loved it, I think I showed it to you last time because I started it January 1st, was my Mossy Scrappy Afghan. And now this is crochet, and I found this kind of moss stitch when I was looking for different crochet things. And this is all of my fingering weight scraps as well as minis, and I'm holding it double, and then I'm doing this moss stitch. And guys, how awesome is this? It's fairly long. I made it so that it would be 72 inches wide, so like a queen size long. And I didn't know how fast I was going to be going. I think I last talked to you in early January. But I have just over 16 inches done. So that's awesome. And I love it. I love it. Here, I'm going to show it to you a little closer. The crochet stitch is super easy. It's single crochet followed by slip stitch, single crochet, slip stitch, and across, double. That's it. And it creates this great fabric. I love it. As I talked about, because I couldn't do it, I mean, I could have, but I do like to have some type of color management. In this case, it wasn't necessarily color, but semi-shade. I don't know if you can see, but can you see kind of that it is dark stripe, light stripe, dark stripe, light stripe? And how I'm accomplishing that roughly, and I'm not being super crazy about it, is I'm doing 2 stripes, or actually 3 rows of 2 dark colors held together, and then 3 rows of 1 dark, 1 light, and then 3 rows of light, and then repeating going. So you basically have, like, you can see this was light, and then this was mixed, and this was dark, and then I'll be mixed and then light. Roughly, you know, dark and light are a little weeble wobbly, because I'm not like taking a camera, I'm not taking shade. So let me show you. So this I would consider dark. This is probably light, but could also go dark if I feel like it's going. This is a dark. These are just scraps. This will be a light because it's got more light. Solids like this orange, this is being considered a dark. And yeah, so I just have a bunch of scraps right now. These are just scrap balls of different things and minis, and I just kind of throw some more in here as I get my choices get down, and I just work on it. And this is something that I'm loving working on, so much so that the first month I did, as I said, I did 10 inches in January, and I finished 6 in February. My goal is to have it be 72 inches long as well. So if I just do 6 inches a month on average, I'll be done by the end of the year. So this is going to just be a year, roughly. And yeah, and I think I have enough sock scraps. We'll see. I mean, I'm not in any danger right now. You know, I'm a 16 inches. So I'm almost, you know, a quarter of a way through it. And I mean, I haven't had to even just separate from just my normal small balls of sock yarn I had everywhere, let alone go into a bunch of the minis and things like that. So I think I'll be okay. I might, if I have the opportunity, pick up a few more minis or something if I need to, or break into some of my full sock skeins if I have to do even that. But love it. It makes me happy, but I can't work on it all the time because I need to finish my sweater. The other thing, I didn't bring up my hat, so I won't show you that fourth helix hat that I have on. I moved it to my purse knitting, and I forgot to grab it, so I moved it to my purse knitting because what I had in my purse was this sock that I cast on January 25th, and it wasn't getting any love. And these are the DRK Everyday Socks by Andrew Mowry. She had in one of her newsletters, like, oh, we're going to knit socks together. And she had a discount code, and I wanted to try it. And the reason I wanted to try it is she does toe up ribbed all over socks. Even the bottom of the foot, this is not the best yarn to see it in. Even the bottom of the foot, all the way up. So I wanted to try it, but constant rib is not as mindless or as fast. So I haven't been reaching for it. So I've taken it out of my purse to kind of force myself to maybe work on it a little more. I'm actually ready for the heel turn. These were going to be for my brother, but after knitting them, 72 stitches and then this, I wonder if they'll be too tight. So instead I'm turning them and making them for me to kind of try out. I don't know if I'll knit these again because, as I said, not very fond of knitting the ribbing constantly, but I think the sock will be pretty cool. Someone said, that's a sock, it's so tiny. I'm like, yeah, it's all rib, it will stretch. So the yarn that I'm knitting these in is 716 knit. It's All You've Got. It's kind of just it was going to be a cool muted gray color, but I like it for me too. So I took those out, and so I would start working on them. But yeah, I just feel like I have been knitting, I have been crocheting, but it's just kind of Some days I don't. I'm kind of just in that way. So I need to kind of jumpstart my knitting mojo, which is why after all of this yarn that I went shopping for at Stitches West that I'm going to show you. So that's kind of my FOs, my WIPs that I got to show. What I've been doing, so at the end of February, my mom and my niece came to visit for a week. That was fun. It was my niece's school break. My niece Sky usually comes and stays with me for a week during the summer, but because of obviously the craziness of the past 2 years, she hasn't been able to come out, and I've gone back there to visit. So since everything was getting a little less crazy, and she's 11, she was finally able to get vaccinated, we felt it would be okay for her to travel. But last time she came to visit me, she came by herself, but this time my sister was still a little, so my mom came with her, and they spent a week with me, and we just chilled. I shouldn't say chilled. We did some fun stuff. We went to the arbor, one of the nature gardens, the Descano Gardens near me for one of the days. One of the days we went to the new Broad Museum, which is a modern art museum in downtown. Been open for a few years, and I've never had a chance to go. And then one of the days we went to the Getty Villa over in Malibu, and they focus on Roman and Greek and early art there in a beautiful, beautiful location. So we alternated doing things like that. Each of those things was, a few hours with hanging out at the house, because I'm not even kidding when one of my niece's favorite things to do is just sit and watch horror movies with me. So we watched good horror, bad horror, kind of borderline horror, but we probably saw at least one scary movie every day, sometimes 2 or 3. But that's what she wants to do, and nobody else will at home watches scary movies with her, but occasionally they will, but not like I do. They don't like it like we do. And even when it's bad, like it was funny. So it was fun, so much so that she left, and she's like, do you think I can come stay with you for a month for the summer? I'm like, that might be a long time, but we'll see. So she might be out hanging out sometime this summer. I did tell her I might not be able to take all that time off of work. I did have to go in one of the days they were here, but then the other days I was able to take off. But if she were to come out for 2 weeks, I might, have to work a few days. Anyways, it was fun. I mean, my mom hadn't been out for a while either. She helped me plant, go through my plants that I've been neglecting up top. I've had succulents and things that were pot bound forever. And so we spent a few hours. We went to Home Depot and picked up some new plants and some pots, and she helped me repot some things, though I've already killed one of them, but don't tell her. I mean, it's been like a month. I actually need to go. I'm looking because the window above me is where my patio is, and I need to go. And I've been getting home late, and so I haven't been able to actually go up in the daytime to see how they're doing. I just sort of water them at night in the dark every so often. Anyways, I'm the worst plant person. So they came up, and then the next weekend I went to Stitches West, and it was in Sacramento this year. In the last 2 years that I've gone, it's been in Santa Clara. I think it was in Santa Clara quite a while, and they just moved to Sacramento. And so it was a place I'd never been, and it was the first time of having it there, and it was the first big event for Stitches since, I think, Stitches West 2020, which was the last one I went to. A lot of fun. I traveled by myself, but I have lots of friends up there, lots of knitting friends I know, and hung out. My friend Martha and her husband actually came over from Virginia, and so hung out with them a bit and walked around, and then other knitting friends met up with at various times, Two Knit Lick Chicks, yeah, just all sorts of people. I'm not even gonna try to name people, but we did hang out. We did what I love to do at Stitches, and is we, you know, the hotel bar at the Sheraton had a pretty big bar area. I stayed at the Hyatt. I loved the Hyatt, actually, the rooms and everything, except for the animal, which I'll tell you that story. But the bar area was smaller, so they had a big bar area over the Sheraton, and it just happened to be like every day there was just a big table, and people would come and go. You would go back to the market, you'd have classes, you'd go get lunch, you'd go get dinner, but there was always somebody kind of there. And so there was just a lot of hanging out and talking and great conversations and showing things and inspiring people. Like, I wore my Spectre sweater by Joji, which I had done as a fade with 4 skeins that I had in my stash, because I have a color palette. I have 4 random skeins from 4 random dyers of a color scheme that would match. It was, you know, oranges and whites, but they were all orange in all of them. And that inspired her to go and buy yarns to do kind of her own kind of fade. So it's always nice when you see that and you see other projects. I got there on Thursday night. I did take a class. I took a Tunisian crochet class with Toni Lipsey, which she was an amazing teacher. I'm almost inspired to try to do a garment from Tunisian crochet, but now at least I know what Tunisian crochet is. We did the method, and I know how it's different from regular crochet, and then the type of fabric it creates. So I am intrigued to possibly plan a Tunisian crochet garment, but we'll see. She did a great class though. Very enthusiastic, great teacher. Highly recommend taking any classes. Toni Lipsey, if you get an opportunity, or if you're interested. She's very passionate about Tunisian crochet and crochet in general, I think. So that was one of the classes on Friday, and then the rest of the time I just wandered and chilled and hung out with friends or chilled alone. I had one of the days I had great Thai food by myself. It was awesome. And I shopped more than I should. So I had a plan. I didn't have a plan, but my plan roughly was a sweater's quantity and some random skeins. I came home with this full. I think I got 4 sweater quantities and random stuff and gifts and socks. I'm going to show you the yarn. I'm not exactly going to remember when I got everything, but one of the things I picked up was some just sock yarn of things that I had wanted, with some ideas in mind of getting more manly colors. So this was a local yarn store, I think, to Sacramento or that area that I picked it up. And so I got an opal, and I just like the stripes. This is going to be probably for my brother. And I got a Queensland Perth collection. It's kind of like a hand spun kind of gradient thing, and I think this is a cool color. I got Lang Super Socks. This is another stripey. This is probably gonna be for me because I just liked these stripes. Like, look at that. That looks fun. And then Western Sky Knits a Christmas yarn, because I don't have any Christmas socks specifically. So these were just sock yarns because, oops, I can't have enough sock yarns. And they were, you know, I make a fair amount of socks. Not this year, it seems, but in other years. The other one I picked up are these, she was a new to me dyer, Schmutzerella yarns. And she's out of Snohomish, Washington. And she had such great minis. She had a whole theme of, based on Clue, of the main mini colors and then different gradients. And then this is Let's Do the Time Warp Again. And then these are the colors. And I love the yarns, and so I wanted to support, so I picked up these. These are fingering weight wash. Each mini is 90, and it's like, you know, it's a jump to the left, a step to the right, put your hands on your knees, bring your knees in tight, but it's a pelvic thrust that really drives me insane. Rocky Horror Picture Show, if anyone's wondering where the reference is from. Big fan of Rocky Horror Picture Show. And like to support new dyers. And I thought these would be cool minis if I want to put them in my blanket. Or hold them for a little while, because I think these would be a cool gradient for some other with this rainbow and kind of black. So that's Schmutzilla Yarns. The big thing that was on Thursday night, and this is something different. Thursday night, walking around, I found Zombie Yarns, and this is Lorna. She used to be formerly Lorna's Laces, and she was Zombie Yarns, and she was getting out of the yarn dyeing business entirely. And she had priced all of her remaining stock at $5 a skein, buy 5 get 1 free. $5, guys. These are, you know, $25 to $35 skeins of yarn. $5. So this is where I fell down. I even didn't catch it till like later in market night on Thursday, and so people had already gone through. But I found 3 skeins or 3 sweaters worth and some randoms. So I picked up this. This is her Gutsy Fingering. It is a 50% cotton, 50% bamboo. I've got 4 of these, and it's kind of orange, which I think I like. I think I'm going to do a t-shirt of this. What I had fun doing on Friday is, after I got these sweater yarns, was finding which sweaters I was going to do. So I think I've come upon a t-shirt that I'm going to do in this. And I think that, you know, obviously a cotton, you know, cotton bamboo blend in California would be something I can do in a t-shirt and wear. So I really like it. So that was one quantity. This was 20 bucks for the 4 skeins. Then I picked up, I think I have 5 or 6 of these. I'm trying to pull them out for you. Yeah, 5 of these. This is her fingering, and this is her live base. It's 100% superwash merino. These are big put-ups. These are 490, so this is a light fingering. And I've got 5 skeins of these. I'm going to do a sweater. It is just, and it's so me. Look at, just orange. So I'm thinking an Oliver sweater. I think actually one of Andrea Mowry's, I think her birch sweater, which is kind of like I think it's a half fisherman rib. I think it's a relatively plain sweater, and I think it will look really good with just these little, mostly white with orange pops. So excited. Again, 25 bucks for a sweater. And this last one, also me, but little, not out of my comfort, but different for me. And I have 6 skeins of these, and this is a DK. Look at this. Oh, that's not it's kind of blowing out, but this is her 100% superwash merino, her monster, and these are just kind of white with then some of this neon yellow, and then some orange and some green. Here's like another one. It is blowing out a little bit in this light, but I have 6 skeins of that. 25 bucks. Another sweater. I got, I think, 18 skeins of yarn, 3 sweaters worth, and some random 3 other kind of sock skeins for 80 bucks. Crazy. This is where I fell down. Zombie Yarns. Satch is going out of business. Obviously, she is an amazing dyer. She's had multiple businesses. But she started making kind of recycled bags and stuff from recycled materials, and so it was very cool. She was selling her new venture stuff there as well. The other, I still got more. Okay, so these are the 3 other skeins that I picked up from Zombie. These were kind of like my free skeins because it was buy 5 get 1 free. So these are just all going to be, these are actually different. This is kind of gray, this is more purple, and then this is kind of an orange. I don't know, these are going to go into I don't have plans. These could be socks. These could be some type of shawl in a shawl project. Awesome. And then I should have been not falling down anymore, but I did. This just called to me. And this is the Knitted Wit fingering and the Great Pumpkin. And it was called Great Pumpkin. And I do like to pick up kind of a pumpkin themed yarn pretty much every show I go to. So this is 100% superwash. So pretty. I also picked up this as kind of on the last day. This is Pocket Full of Rainbows from Desert Panda Fiber Arts, and they're out of Vegas. And this is a rainbow zebra set. So it basically zits up mostly this, and then it goes through with a 5-color full-on neon rainbow across. So the blue, the green, the orange, the pink. They had samples knit up, and it was really fun. So I picked up this. It just made me smile. These will be socks probably for me at some point. Then the last thing I picked up is another kind of sweater. And this is intended for the Rocketee by Tana Gray. And this is Pearls Before Swine. And I think she was out of Idaho or Washington. I'm not sure. But I picked up this. It's her Robusta, which has her Superwash Merino, and Isawine, her Mohair Silk. So that sweater, or that t-shirt rather, is alternating stripes of mohair and a fingering. And it is just one of each when you are a smaller size. I might actually need to augment this. I'm going to try to go through my minis and pull now maybe some minis that would go either the bottom or maybe the sleeves or the around the neck. That would help me kind of just offset. We'll see. I'll make it work. But they had one, and Rocketee was on my list, and I don't have mohair, so I did pick this up, and I do love it. And then the last things I got were not yarn. I got a pair of earrings. These are from Featherweight Finery. So they are just little metal rainbow earrings, which I love. These are for me. And then I got one more thing, which I can't remember. This was a vendor that was selling different things, and these earrings are for me. These are made where they actually take the butterfly wings and preserve them and create earrings. And one cool thing about this is that they are different on each side because the wings are different. So I picked up these earrings for me, and here's the butterfly that these are from, the Great Banded Urania. They say that the butterflies are allowed to naturally pass and then they recycle them. Hopefully that's true. And then I picked this one up for my mom for a gift. Look at that. How cool is that? And then on the back, this one is just like black. So I thought that was unique. I thought that would be a cool gift for her. Probably for Christmas. And yeah, so that was all of my yarn acquisitions. It's a lot, guys. I mean, I'm probably looking at 25 skeins, maybe more, maybe up almost 30. I don't want to count. I could, but up there. So definitely more than I intended, but they make me happy, and they were bargains, and they were supporting new dyers, and then just some colors that would make me happy. So I'm happy. I'm happy with my yarn acquisitions, and I have, for the sweater quantities, I do have at least preliminary into my queue, them all marked for sweater, and then the ones that are just for socks and stuff will go into my random sock yarn. I don't mind having random sock yarns because I do make socks, maybe not as much as I usually make, 10 pairs or so a year. Also use them in great, I've done a Stephen West shawl, which, gradient, and there's some other ones I want to do. I love that shawl. It's a giant shawl. So I was thinking of doing another one, maybe this year or next year. So that's where you kind of pull in. And when you have a color scheme, you have things that will work. So Though I do get a little more purple than I usually do. And it's in addition to my orange. That's kind of what I picked for some of the random skeins. And then, but I'd still say I have a theme. I have colors that I like. So that was Stitches West. It was awesome. And other things that have been going on is just normal life. As I said, work has been very crazy. Trying to pull a little bit away, not away from work, maybe not work as much overtime. But I also have a lot going on, so it's hard to keep on top of everything and not work overtime. So I'm trying to balance that between, you know, does this really, in my mind, it needs to be done right away, but does it really? Or could I, you know, not work overtime? So just trying to get that life balance in. Still reading a fair amount. I love to read. I'm reading, I think since I'm up to almost 47 books for the year. Not bad for March. Most of those, though, are not cerebral books, are not long books. I'm reading a lot of mysteries. I picked up another, I'm reading Jen McKinley. She does the Library Lovers mystery series, and then I started reading her. She does a hat shop mystery series, which I like. Then most of these are kind of like supernatural romancy things that I picked up that are, you know, take me 2 or 3 hours to read at most. And they're just light. And I'm reading one that's that Regency romance with werewolves by Tilly Wallace, the Highland Wolves books. Started Dakota Cassidy, which lists in Seattle series. She's got a bunch of these. And the big thing I finished, which took a lot of time. So Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series, which is 11 books, 12 books. I have been for the last 5 years, listening to the audiobooks. And I just finished the last book, Memory of Light. That book alone was 42 hours of audiobook. The entire series, added up, audio time was 19 days, 5 hours, 25 minutes. So that is pretty much takes up a lot of the other kind of time. So, yeah, so now I'm on to other audiobooks. I listened to the new Stephanie Plum, which is just light, but I love that series. And the reader, Lorelei King, just, I hear her voice and I hear that character, Stephanie Plum, and it's light, you know, nothing cerebral, mystery kind of stuff. But it makes me happy to go back to the same characters over and over, which is why I read a lot of series, light series. Yeah. So as I said, since I last podcast, I read about 20 books. And so that's about 20 books in 2 months. And I've read 47 for the year. Doing pretty good. Television, recommend if you have HBO, The Gilded Age. It is by the same creator who created Downton Abbey. It is set in the 1800s of New York, with basically the clash between old money and new money. And it's very well done, and it's beautiful. The costuming is wonderful. Christine Baranski's in it, and she is hilariously mean. As is the main actress in it, which we didn't realize until I think like the 3rd episode, is like Meryl Streep's daughter. She's very good too. On Acorn, which is not my guilty pleasure, but I do like Acorn. I've been watching the Queens of Mystery series 2. I watched the My Life is Murder, which is with Lucy Lawless. This season they moved to New Zealand, and the last episode had Renee O'Connor, who was Gabrielle and Xena, as the guest actor who in the mystery. So I loved Lucy Lawless from Xena days. I loved Xena. And so it was really fun to see them together, acting together, and, you know, just seeing it was just the call back to it. It was great. And I'm also watched Peacemaker on HBO. I didn't think I would find John Cena as hilariously funny as I did. When I watched The Suicide Squad, the latest movie where his character was introduced, he's a tool. Absolutely. And I'm like, how are they going to do a whole series on this character? But it's hilarious. it's so funny. John Cena is so funny. He does have this character where he's the peacemaker and he's all about, you know, supposedly killing only the people who need it and things like that. But John Cena is hilarious. He just is. It's well written. It's by James Gunn, so the same people he did Guardians of the Galaxy and other things. So to me, even though it was a lot of superhero kind of gore in the story, and obviously it's set in the DC universe, it is worth it to watch for John Cena, and he is hilarious. Just and the other characters are in it, supporting characters and stuff like that. It's heartwarming, it's funny, and he becomes a better person. And he has a pet owl named Owlie. It was surprisingly very enjoyable to me. The other thing we spent a lot of time watching on Netflix, we watch All of Us Are Dead, which is a Korean show about high school students and someone creates the zombie virus in this high school and lets it go. And then it's these kids who don't get infected, trying to get out. And it was a lot of teen angst and things like that and a lot of gore. It was very, I love a good zombie show, and we watch a fair amount of Korean and Japanese shows in this house, and so it was well done. It was long. It was like 12-hour plus episodes. So if you don't like watching subtitles, as my niece does not, which really limits a lot of the cheesy horror films because she says it's too much work to read subtitles. Yeah, so that's what we did. Movie wise, nothing stands out. We just watched The Adam Project this week or last week. The new movie on Netflix with blanking, everybody knows him, Ryan Reynolds. Very well done. Surprisingly, I thought Ryan Reynolds has a type, and he definitely is playing his type in this, but the other kid who is playing his younger self is hilarious. Like, the sarcasm and deadpan wit with it was very, very funny and very enjoyable. And it was heartwarming. I like me a good heartwarming movie. Whew, that's a lot of talking, and I've been talking fast. Hopefully that's okay for everybody. Anything else? I don't really have too much. I haven't been doing anything towards my life goals recently. I have some trips coming up. WonderCon is back, which is the comic book kind of quarterly convention they do in Anaheim. It is coming up in 2 weeks. They're having it in person. We usually go, so I think we might go down for a night. And then the following weekend, I'm going to the Knockers Retreat up in Northern California, and that will be fun. Going up there for 3 days. And then other than that, the only other thing I have definitely penciled in is Zombie Apocalypse in June. I am still thinking about maybe going to Maryland. It's up in the air. I got to decide soon if that's going to be a possibility. Or I know over the summer, my grandmother's turning 90, so we're supposed to be going to Florida sometime in July. And then just some other kind of random things that might come up. But it is nice that domestic travel is kind of back in the realm of possibility. So I have more things to look forward to, more trips, and that always makes me happy too. So I think that's all I got, guys. I hope everyone is having a good start to the 2022. I do feel, for me, 2022, it's feeling definitely more back to normal, which I really appreciate. And but I still appreciate the challenges. Everyone still be vigilant, and take care of yourselves. Everyone take care of themselves. And we're definitely not 100% out of kind of the change. And obviously we have other things happening in the world right now. The horrible war in the Ukraine is just sad. And yeah, my heart goes out to everybody with family or friends or just watching. It's very hard to watch. It does happen. Someone's trying. Anyways, it's I'm not going to say anything else on it. It's just sad. Let's just go with that. And but it was really nice seeing my knitting friends. It was really nice to chat with people and chat with fellow lovers of yarn who enable each other and encourage each other. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in a short month and seeing more of you guys in the next coming up months. and getting my mojo back, my knitting. I'm gonna go cast on. I think I'm gonna cast on for the Calibrate by Shayna Lines. I picked up that yarn from Zombie Apocalypse last summer, so I think it's time to cast on for a t-shirt since it is getting warmer, and that could be something I could wear at that retreat. Anyways, that's a wrap from Hollywood, where fantasy meets fiber and dreams are knit. Bye, everybody.